Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So what you guys are seeing right now is one of the records for one of the speedruns that I've already have verified. So let me go and actually talk about Diablo 4 and speedrunning. So I recently got into trying to do some speedruns. It does take quite a bit of time for multiple reasons. And I want to go ahead and start off this video by kind of explaining, because I will probably be uploading a lot of videos where it's just going to be like the raw speedrun where I don't have any of my commentary because I'm like 100% focused in on doing certain things that need to be done in order to reach these like ranks. So I have a ton of different footage that I do need to like actually upload, because if any of you guys have seen maybe some of these speed runs that are done like live, they're really popular on Twitch or even on YouTube at like AGDQ or Awesome Games Done Quick. There's like a lot of other different speed running things. Some of them are for charity and stuff, but I recently got into it for Diablo because, well, there's no official Diablo leaderboard, and I always like to go ahead and push the Diablo leaderboards. For this current season of Diablo 3, we've already hit rank 1, and with Diablo, we don't have an official leaderboard yet, so there is, of course, speedrunning where we can go ahead and try to push for, like, number 1. And so I've got a lot more footage to go ahead and upload, and these have to be manually verified by humans, so it does take a little bit of time. But yeah, this is one of the runs that I have over here, and I want to kind of talk a little bit about speedrunning and kind of explaining certain things, because a lot of people notice my build may be different from what I've uploaded on YouTube. They're like, yo, I thought you said this was the best build. And yeah, just copy that build. It will be like the best build. And I put it in air quotations because when people are doing some speedruns, they're going to do some things that are, let's say, non-traditional to explain kind of more crazier theory crafting. And because Diablo 3 has been out for many, many years, there's a lot of crazy speedrunning tactics that have evolved. Now, with Diablo 4, this game is relatively new, so people are still experimenting with certain things. This is like a top 3 clear that we have over here. I think it was second place, but there's going to be a lot of like top clears in the gameplay that you're about to see, but I want to give you guys kind of an introduction to some of the more weird things. So starting right off, yes, some of the stuff that people will do in speedruns is not going to be recommended for everyone because some people like crazier ideas. So first off, I'll kind of talk about some of the other things that I've seen other people do that are a little bit more awesome. So, for example, one of the things that doesn't really get to see some play is this like magical bubble. One thing that I was trying to do originally was to equip one of these, swap it, because you can gear swap. There are certain rules to the speedruns. You cannot use any elixirs, and you cannot use any incense. So no, like, having your friend buff you up with a bunch of stuff and then you go in. It is a solo, and it's only counting Nightmare 100, so like Sigil 100s is going to be the only thing that's really factored in for some of these speedruns. Now, on top of that, you can swap gear in the middle of your run. So if you want to do some unconventional things like run something that actually gives you, let's say, a magical bubble while you are untying the enemy, this could be something to think about, because you're going to be able to successfully untie the enemy. Sorceress is actually pretty excellent because of the flame shield. There's also a really crazy strategy revolving the Penitent's Greaves, where you're able to leave a trail of frost behind you, and you can combine that with something like the Craven Amulet, which gives you increased movement speed when you're moving away from chilled enemies. So there's a lot of stuff where, like, I would not recommend ever playing with the shield bubble in any build, but because, I'm a content creator, sometimes people will be like, oh, did you just update your build? Why do you got Blizzard? Okay. So the reason why I'm actually using Blizzard is actually to proc certain things that are revolved around teleport. So there is a thing that you can get on the skill tree, and I'm just going to explain some of the stuff, and I'll drop like a speedrunning like guide for a build eventually. And again, Diablo 4 is in its infancy, but there's this one thing over here which is pretty good, where your crit strikes have a chance to reset one of your cooldowns of one of your defensive skills, along with being able to apply disobedience. So there are like sometimes multiple reasons why I'd be running something that would be a little bit more unconventional. For example, Blizzard, because I can just throw it down and still move, and it can still get ticks, I can still apply my aspect of disobedience even though I will just be straight up running. Some of the runs, you can get body block pretty hard. I was actually experimenting a lot on this run, and sometimes, I don't know if this is one of the runs, because I haven't labeled any of these, which I should have done. If you die in any speed run, it's just like a rip. And unfortunately with Diablo 4, how it works is if you fail the run, there really isn't any like just reset the run. And Diablo 4 has a lot of RNG. If any of you guys have seen any speedrun in general with any video game, right? Like you see, I think I ripped on that one, or like I looked at the time and I was like, dude, we're just like too far. Sometimes I will just reset the run. And so What's unfortunate with Diablo 4 is there are certain modifiers on the Nightmare Dungeons. One of them that like you absolutely cannot do on the Sorceress is if they do any bonus damage to, let's say, barriers, that is just an automatic no-go. There's also a few things that are RNG where if it says slay all enemies, sometimes there's one enemy, and for whatever reason, you have to go all the way back to get them, and that is a failed run. And sometimes you actually have to kill all the enemies, and if you try to kill every single one along the way, well, what happens is you will slow down your run, obviously. But at the same time, there is also that chance where sometimes at the very end, you can see that's a really great strategy, by the way, activating the flame shield to try to untie the person. There's a lot of things where it becomes very difficult in certain speedruns. You can see, like, I'm almost rip over here. But again, if you rip once, your speedrun's basically over. If any of you guys have seen any speedruns for any video games, yeah. But Diablo 4 also has these rooms. So in some of these rooms where you're, like, you kill all the enemies or you do the first objective and you're progressing from one section to another, there is sometimes where you have to actually survive for 30 seconds. If you get that one, it's almost a rip every single time. Heck, some of these runs that I've been seeing, like, they just always get the, like, lucky, like, you just kill one enemy and you get to go to the next room. So there is a lot of room for RNG in some of these runs. So I want to say, if I'm uploading any of these guides, don't think that, you know, realistically you're going to walk in one time with the same build and expect the same results. And I wanted to stress this because, you know, sometimes people may not understand that, like, oh, if I clear this and, you know, I have like a world record for this, you can't just copy the build and expect the same results for a lot of reasons. One, it may take me 100 tries to get that result. And on top of that, I might have a dungeon that you don't have. And so some of these dungeons, like a god dungeon for me as a lightning ball sorceress, would be like, oh, okay, cool, I get bonus lightning damage as like one of the benefits. And some of like the downsides, let's say the downside is, oh, you lose dodge chance. Well, if I have 0 dodge chance, it doesn't matter, right? Or if there's any ones that say like your potion cooldown is reduced, it might not hurt me as much. But if there's like the bad modifier of they have bonus 100% damage to people that have barriers, that is an automatic, I know in my head, I cannot do that. So there is going to be some situations where the map is going to be something that you cannot complete. And another thing that kind of sucks is you can't really trade the sigils. You can, in theory, invite your friend, have him open it, leave, and then start the dungeon run. But you can see, like, a lot of these dungeon runs are super fast. And, like, some of these, I'm like, dude, I did it absolutely perfect. I'm looking at the other guy, I'm like, he did it 30 seconds faster. And it is disappointing, but I'm just trying to give you guys realistic expectations if you guys do see some of these builds that I may upload. And some of these will have a lot of crazy theory crafting going on. Like, right now, in one of my enchant slots, normally I run the chain lightning to restore like mana, and then I could run like something else. It's kind of like an open slot. So I've been running ice armor. That one's kind of nice, and I had a couple people ask me why. Some of the hits in this game, when they interrupt you from doing a certain mechanic, I'm sure some of you guys have tried to like do the little lever and your character just gets interrupted. And in the higher tier nightmare dungeons, what happens is some of the monsters will have something applied where it says it does like fire damage over 4 seconds or poison damage, or it's additional physical as fire, poison, or some element, right? And if it like ticks over a certain duration, you can get those additional ticks, and that's what's causing it. So what you can do is if you get additional barrier, or if you just pop for your flame shield, you can avoid certain mechanics. The ice shield, I believe there's also one that can make you unstoppable. So there's a lot of room here for a lot of different ideas, and I think that's actually quite fun. It actually opens up the doors for a lot more longevity in this game's life cycle versus like, okay, well, I'm level 100, my glyphs are done, I go to PvP. Where is everyone? There's no, like, you know, other endgame content other than pushing leaderboards, which is normally something that I would like to do in, let's say, Diablo 3. But Diablo 4 doesn't have it yet, so speedrunning is kind of where I've been having a little bit of fun, so I do recommend you guys to try it out. Now, I'm just gonna warn you guys as a heads up, as right now, it doesn't separate the classes. It's basically like, you know, if you guys see this, like, right now on this one that I have, it just goes like rank 1, 2, 3, 4, like, there's no, like, section where it just counts sorceress, necromancer, and stuff like that. So as of right now, I would say if you are looking to maybe get into speedrunning, I would highly stay away from the necromancer and probably the druid. I say probably because you can still get okay movement speed, but if you're comparing teleporting through walls, because the rogue can teleport through walls if you know what you're doing, the barbarian just moves so dang fast and like one-shots everything. It's incredibly powerful. I would say Sork, rogue, and barbarian are probably better class choices. I don't even think necromancer has any room to compete. Like, it's pretty much impossible for the necromancer to have any chance because well, they don't really, even though Bone Spear, I mean, it can delete things quite fast, you just don't happen to have like special mobility options like some of the other classes at the end of the day. So, you know, maybe that will change in the future when someone figures out, oh, if you run this aspect. But again, we're in the infancy of the speedrunning community, but figure I'd at least give you guys like an introduction to the speedruns, and then you guys can see some of my runs over here. I mean, like I said, some of these runs I play what I consider like relatively fast, and it's just because sometimes there is RNG in this. So I want to give you guys an introduction to speedrunning and explain, you know, if I drop, you know, a build guide that's for speedrunning, just keep your realistic expectations of not being able to just throw in a nightmare dungeon one time and being able to get the exact same result. But yeah, like I said, I'll give you guys the build because a lot of guys been like, yo, dude, are you running a new build? I see you're playing Blizzard. Why are you playing it? And some of these things are just because, well, you got to run certain weird things to do certain strategies. And going into the inventory and swapping is going to be really fun to see what people come up with ideas. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for the video. Let me know, guys, just thoughts on the speedrunning, as I kind of want to mess around with it a little bit until we get the official leaderboards, which when you come out, leaderboards in Season 3, we will be on top of them for sure. But take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next video, and subscribe if you would like to see more speedrunning stuff coming very soon. Peace out.